Hello folks. Today's orientation lesson is on positive classroom behaviors. A lot of this I'm sure you know. I believe we have many returning students, but for any new students, this is what the teachers will expect from you in the Blackboard classroom. A lot of it is things that you probably already know or have heard, but it's always good to have a refresher. So we are going to talk about positive classroom behaviors in the Blackboard classroom or Blackboard Collaborate. So just some ideas to help you have a great day. You want to have a routine. You don't want to be waking up 5 minutes before class, although that's convenient. That's not really what we want you to do. So try to get yourself into a routine. Get up a couple minutes before class, maybe like 20 minutes before class, half hour before class, get dressed, eat some breakfast, fix your hair, brush your teeth, go check your email, and then come into class. That way you have no distractions when you are in your lessons. Certainly you can have a little snack at your desk, totally okay, or wherever you do your school, as long as it's not a super messy snack and you're able to listen while the lesson is going on. But a big one is to check your email. We want to make sure that you're doing that before classes and at the end of the day, because that's where most of your information comes from your teachers. We are a cyber school. We don't see each other every day. So that's where most of your information will come, or reminders of information that was went over in class. So it's really great that you check your email at the beginning and at the end. This is a great behavior, a great routine to get into starting the very first day of school. So when you get into your classroom, for those of you who've never been there before, this is kind of what it looks like. You'll see on the left-hand side here, and I do apologize that this is a bit blurry, but this big long P word is participants, and this will list all of the people that are in your class, including your teacher. Underneath, this C word is the chat box where you can talk to your classmates. And then up at the very top, where it says audio and video, that's where if you were given microphone privileges, that's where you could talk. You would press the talk button right here and then you could talk. If you're given video privileges, or if you were looking at a teacher on the webcam, chances are that would be right there unless you've moved the box into the middle of the screen, which most of you probably don't. So your video of your teacher would kind of be up here in that left-hand corner. Your lesson would be here on the main page. And if you look under the participants box, there's these 4 little boxes. We use those quite often in the classroom, in the main room. There's some emoticons there, smiley faces, laughing, applauding. If you're confused, you can put the confusion sign up, or the disapproval, the down thumb. You know, if maybe you're not quite understanding what the teacher is doing, you don't actually have to type it out. You can just use the emoji, and that might give some of you a little bit more comfort knowing that you don't have to type it or say it. And most of the time, students won't even have the microphone unless the teacher gives them to you. So you don't have to worry about talking on the microphone. I know we have a lot of students that are kind of shy or not comfortable with that, and it's totally okay. You do not have to talk unless the teacher calls you to talk, and you can always mention in the chat box that you're a little nervous. Oops, sorry about that. And then next to that little smiley face emoji is a person with a little clock. That's your away box. So if you need to go away, run to the restroom real quick, you can just click on that little box, and that lets the teacher know that you were away. And next to your name, the word away will pop up in red. Just make sure that you come back. Don't go away forever. Come on back. We don't want to talk to an empty chair, an empty room. And then just re-click that button and the away part will go away. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, which is this next emoji, that little third box over with the hand. Just click that and it will raise your hand. And the teacher will hear a ding, and then we can call on you to ask your question. And then this last box we will use quite often for polling. You might see a check mark or an X there, or maybe a letter choice if it's a multiple choice question or a warm-up question. So you definitely want to be using that box quite frequently. That's how the teachers know that you are paying attention. That's how we know what your answer might be if we were asking a polling question. So please use that, that box, that 4th box over, whether it be a check mark or it be some letters. All right, so these are our classroom behaviors. There are a ton of words and descriptions and everything on this page. I'm not going to read all of these for you. I am going to point out a couple, and I'll give you some time to read it to yourself and look it over. And if you need more time than I have given you in the recording, you can click the pause button, which is at the bottom of the video on the left-hand side, and take time to read it out loud or to read it with your learning coach. Have your learning coach read it to you. But I'm just going to kind of focus on the effort row going across. So I'm going to read these pieces out to you. This is what we hope that you would do in the classroom. This is the effort, what you put forth, what you show us so we know that you're ready. And then you can read the kindness and the respectful pieces on your own. But I'm going to read this one out loud, and then I'll pause the recording so you can have a couple moments to read the rest. Okay, so entering the classroom. To show effort when you're entering the classroom, you want to have all your materials ready. So that could be, if you're in a math class, because I teach math, so I'll go there, a piece of paper, pencil, a calculator, your workbook, maybe a multiplication chart. You want to have all of that ready for you when you go into class. Please be on time. You will have 5 minutes before we start class, but that 5 minutes is not a free 5 minutes. There's usually a warm-up or some teacher task for you to do on the board. So we give you a little 5 minutes to get in there, but don't be any later than that because you will start to miss the lesson. Next column here for effort during instruction. So when the teacher is talking, you want to be watching and listening and taking notes. You want to participate. Let us know that you're understanding, that you're there, that you're listening by using the chat box, raising your hand for the mic privileges, or if you have a question, using those polling tools, and writing on the whiteboard when we ask you to. The next column, during group work. To show us effort during group work, you want to participate. You want to work as a team if you are working in groups. Make your opinions known. If you have a question, ask them. And just do your job in the group. If you have a job, make sure you're doing it. Don't kind of go away. But if you're confused and you're not sure what to do, then you can ask those questions. And then the last column here, independent work for effort, showing effort for independent work. Independent work is a fancy word for things we ask you to do on your own. So this might be something you'll do in a breakout room. We want you to follow the directions. We want you to complete all of the assignments in and outside of class. So you guys will have assignments that you'll have to do outside of class. It's not just an in-class time to do work. You have an outside of class time to do work. Oops, sorry. And then if you have questions, you want to ask those questions. And you can raise your hand. You can private chat the teacher. You can even write them down and email them after class, whatever works best for you. All right, folks, I'm going to give you a couple moments here to read over the kindness column and the respectful column. I'm going to pause the recording to let you do that. But if you need more time, when I start talking again, just pause it, finish reading, and then continue on with the recording. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple moments here to read kindness and be respectful. Folks, hopefully that was enough time to review that chart. But again, if you need more time, just go ahead and pause the recording where I'm at right now, and you can continue reading those. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple questions on the information we've talked about so far. So you will see a question pop up on the next screen. I want you to go ahead and answer it. This will let me know that you're paying attention and trying and listening. All right, so now I have a couple more questions, but these ones I want you to answer out loud to yourself or your learning coach. And then on the next screen, I'm going to tell you what the correct answers are. So I'll read the questions and then you can answer them out loud. When the teacher is talking, what are you doing? Are you like this girl here, who's kind of off to sleep? Or are you like this gentleman here? It looks like he's focused and has his eyes facing the computer, his fingers on the keyboard. All right, the next question, and again, if you need more time, if I ever go too fast, just pause it and answer it, and then unpause or play when you've had enough time. Okay, what should you do when you don't understand what the teacher is teaching, or if you have a question about what the teacher said? Should you use the step away button, which is this person with the clock, or should you raise your hand and ask for help, which is this button here? So which one of those do you think is the correct one? Go ahead and answer that one out loud to yourself or with your learning coach. All right, and then the last question. What are you doing for the first 5 minutes of every live class? Are you doing your homework that was due that class? Or you're doing your while you wait teacher activity or some kind of social skills practice with your classmates? So what are you doing those first 5 minutes? I'll read that again. Are you doing your homework assignment that was due that class? Or are you doing your while you wait activity or some kind of social skills practice with your classmates? All right, so let's see how you did. These are the correct answers. While the teacher is talking, you should be like this guy here, facing the screen with your fingers on the keyboard. The second question, if you have a question about something that the teacher said or what they're teaching, you should raise your hand and ask for help. Or you can chat your answers. Some folks don't feel comfortable talking in the mic, and that's okay. You can just type out your question. Or write it down and ask the teacher at the end of class. That's fine, but you definitely don't want to step away if you don't understand. If you're frustrated or getting a little bit overwhelmed, then you can tell the teacher that, and it's okay to kind of step away. But don't step away just because you have a question. And then the last one, what are you doing the first 5 minutes of every class? You should definitely be doing your while you wait activity or your practice with your peers. You should not be doing the homework that was due that day. Please don't do that. Do the homework after the lesson while it's still fresh in your mind. All right, so sometimes during class you have work that you need to do on your own. You may be asked to do this in a breakout room. And I'm sure if you're a familiar student or a returning student, you know about these breakout rooms. The breakout room is an escape from the main room. So it's a room where you are all by yourself or maybe with a group and you're working on some kind of task. So here are the differences. Here's your main room. Here's like a visual. Everybody's together. Here is a breakout room where you are maybe by yourself or with a group. It's a much smaller situation. So there are two ways to go to a breakout room. The first way is your teacher can move you. The second way is you can move yourself. Most of the time, the teacher will move you, but you sometimes do have an option to move yourself, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But before we do, I want you to answer a question. So look on the board and answer the question. All right, I'll check out those answers at the very end of this recording. When you are in a breakout room, you can work independently to complete exit tickets, maybe do a quiz, or work in an assignment. In the breakout room, you can also work as a group or with other classmates. Today, I'm going to show you how to go to a breakout room independently, which means how to do it on your own. I'm not expecting you to remember this, but I want to go over it with you so you are aware that it is something that you can do. All right, this screen looks a little overwhelming, but I promise it's not quite that bad. Here's how you go to a breakout room on your own. So the teacher gave you the privileges and you were allowed to do it. What you would do is you would right click on your name. So you would go in the main room and find your name and you would right click it. You would get a menu that pops up that's kind of big like this. When you right click, also if you have a mouse, this is your right click button. If you're using the touchpad on the laptop, this is your right click button. Or it might just be like a tap on the touch screen, or the touchpad rather, sorry. So you right click your name and then you click send to breakout room and you pick which breakout room you would like to go to. Then you're in that breakout room. you can review this page as